All right, guys, welcome on in to another week of footy tips. Hopefully, you guys did better than I did last week. I only got four right for round four, so that was pretty disgusting. So we're going to move on to round five this week, which is gather round. Hopefully, I'll see some of you guys there. I should be going to a few games. The Thursday night game between the Crows and the Cats is the first one that we are going to get into. So let's bring up the rounds games. Here it is. So Crows and the Cats on Thursday night at 7:10 p.m. I don't think I've ended up getting a ticket for that one. So I'm gonna tip. This one's so hard because the Cats always play well against the Crows, but the Crows are playing good form at home. I'm going to tip the Crows. I'm going to have to give them the benefit of the doubt. They are sort of 70 cents better priced favourites than the Cats. They're still in good form. They did lose to the Suns, but their Suns are playing some really good footy at the moment, and I'm going to talk about them in just a sec. But I think I have to go the Crows. The Crows are just playing some more complete football than the Cats, so I'm going to tip the Crows by about 3 goals. I still think it'll be a cracking game of footy. Hopefully the weather is good. I haven't checked the weather, and I don't think there's any major injuries. I think it should be an absolute ripper to kick off gather round. We then move to the Friday night game, which is the Pies versus the Swannies on Friday night at Adelaide Oval at 7:10 p.m. That one I also think will be a bit of a cracker. I love watching the Pies and the Swans go at it. Again, I think I will go with the favourites for this one. I think Collingwood are playing just a bit more better footy. A similar sort of odds here for this game. It's literally a couple of cents difference. So I think that the Pies should get up. They're playing just a little bit better footy than the Swans. The Swans have had a couple of iffy losses at the start of their year. But they definitely had a good win against North last week. They just absolutely pantsed them. So I'm going to go with the Pies, probably about 5 goals. I think that they'll probably kick away late, again, depending on the weather. Whatever the weather does will have a big impact on this game. I don't know how well the Pies will play in the wet. I think that might favour the Swans if it does rain. But again, I haven't looked. So I'm just going to go off my gut and say the Pies by about 5 goals. We then move on to the next one, which a week ago I would have found a lot harder to predict. But this game now I think is a foregone conclusion. I think the Suns will come out to the Barossa and absolutely roll North Melbourne. Again, I know nothing really about anything, but I think that the Suns playing as good a footy against the Crows as I've seen. Obviously, they've had some patches where they've dropped off, but they've also had some really seriously good patches of footy, and they are still undefeated. So you have to go with the team that's playing the best footy at the moment, and they are short-priced favourites. It is a North Melbourne home game, but $3.90 to $1.26. We're going to go with the Suns. They should beat them pretty convincingly, I think. North definitely looked like they were back to their old ways last week. And speaking of the dud game of the round, this is an absolute doozy. Nobody will be going to watch this game. It's Carlton versus West Coast at the Adelaide Oval at 12:50 p.m. So if you're trying to get to all games, there's no chance here. The Barossa's a good hour and a half away from the Adelaide Oval. So I'm going to tip the Blues to beat the Eagles because the Eagles absolutely stunk it up last week as well. So, but this is just a game nobody wants to watch. I don't think it'll do good numbers. I think Carlton are playing terrible football, and the Eagles actually probably have a good chance of winning this if they actually play some decent footy and get some good runs on. We know Carlton have been fading out really bad in the second halves. So I'm going to tip the Blues, though. I think they got too much talent. They can't lose this game. They physically can't afford to lose this game. We then move on to another one that should be reasonably easy to predict. It's the Bulldogs versus the Lions at 3:45 p.m. at Norwood Oval. I think that the Lions should get up. They're a quality side. The Bulldogs have had to go to Perth, and now they're coming to Adelaide. I think they're going to be pretty worn out from that long plane flight there and back. And then they're obviously not going back to their precious Victoria. So I think that the Lions will probably run over them reasonably well. I think that Lockie Neal will have a pretty good crack at Norwood Oval as well. So let's tip the Lions by about 4 or 5 goals as well. I wouldn't be surprised if that blows out even more. A bit of another dud game, Melbourne versus Essendon. Essendon going in favourites against the D's, 7:05 p.m. on Saturday night. again, just going to be a tough watch. I think the D's will be my pick by about 3 goals, but who knows? Melbourne are playing some of the worst football I've seen them play since like 2008. Like when they were at their worst, they're legitimately playing some garbage football. I mean, that was some of the most just. I think when they came up against North and got smashed, that was bad. But like losing to the Cats by 39 points in the end was just. And the way Petrarca walked off the ground was a little bit concerning too. He looked devastated. So I'm just wondering what's going on with that club, because there's got to be something going on that none of us know about. So let's go the Bombers by 10 points. We're going to go to Richmond and Freo. Richmond hosting Freo at the Barossa, back out there. Freo, I think, should win this. They've come off a good win against the Dogs at home by 16 points, I believe it was. Looks like Sarong and Brayshaw just absolutely carving up in the middle at the moment. And having Darcy back in the ruck helps too. So I'm going to tip the Freo Dockers just to be too strong in the middle. Richmond have definitely shown some good signs, especially kicking 90 points against the reigning premiers last week. But I think the Dockers should get up by a fair bit, go 10 goals. I just think the way they kicked those 7-8 goals in that second quarter last week, or whatever it was, within like 8 minutes, it was a goal a minute for the last whatever. I think they're going to take a lot of confidence out of that, and that's really going to help them push forward for the rest of the year. I think that might be their, catalyst to not playing vanilla football anymore. We then go to a tough one here: St Kilda versus the Giants at Norwood Oval. I don't really know who to pick in this one. The Giants still look pretty good. The Saints beat Port convincingly almost. Port did almost come all the way back, but I don't know. They held on in a gutsy win, which I think we haven't seen from St Kilda for a very, very long time. In my eyes anyway, to like go interstate and beat a good team interstate. You don't normally see that from St Kilda. Obviously they play Marvel very well, but to come over to Adelaide and actually beat Port, I think is a very, very telling sign for their footy club. But that being said, I think the Giants just have too much talent and they're just too good, and they destroyed the Eagles last week. The Eagles were never in that from the word go, and I think the Giants will just run over the top of the Saints at Norwood Oval. They're going to give this a red hot crack, the Saints, but I just expect that the Giants with their mids and their backs and their raging forwards, with Hogan kicking 9 last week. I think I'll go the Giants by about 5 goals over the Saints. It should be a decent game to watch, so I expect the Saints to put up a bit of a fight. And then the grudge match, the last game of Gather Round, the absolute grudge match between Port Adelaide and Hawthorn. The semi-final rematch from last year when Guinea and Ken Hingley were all yelling at each other and then everyone's feelings got hurt. I think this is going to be a sick game to watch. This is probably the game to watch for me. Of the round, because these guys hate each other. I can't wait. I reckon it's going to be a big dust-up. We've seen a couple the last few weeks. There was one with Port and St Kilda, and there was one with Collingwood and Carlton, but geez, this has got a lot of bad blood in it, I reckon, and I reckon there's been some feelings that have been hurt along the way. So I think I'm going to tip the Power to... I don't know, though, because they look really off against St Kilda in that first quarter. Hawthorn I'm going to go the Hawks. Hawks are just playing too good a footy at the moment. I mean, they've had the week off, though. I don't know. Hawks having the week off always sometimes hurts. They're going to make me look like idiots. I'm going to go for the Hawks. Hawks by 4 goals. But I can definitely see Port not having that bye at the moment just really helping them out. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Who have you tipped for this round going forward? Are you coming over to Gather Round? Which games are you going to if you have come over for Gather Round? I can't wait to go. I think I'll be at the Port Hawthorn game. I might be at the Essendon Melbourne game. And I also might be at the Suns and North. I'm not sure. And I don't know about Friday or Thursday yet. At this stage on the Monday, I do not have tickets to those ones, but should be going to at least 2 or 3 games and hopefully do some stuff around the footy festival as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next video coming up very, very shortly. We'll have some Supercoach reviews for round 4, and I've been absolutely stitched up in that. So if you guys are interested in Supercoach, that video will be dropping tomorrow, and I will see you guys then. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great one. Bye for now. Peace!